Most people spend over 15 years in school. They learn math, history, science, geography, but almost nobody graduates knowing how money actually works. Nobody teaches you how taxes work, how debt works, how investing works, how credit cards make money, how loans trap people, how inflation slowly destroys savings. And that's strange because money affects almost every part of adult life: your stress, your freedom, your relationships, your choices, your future. Yet millions of students leave school financially unprepared, and most people never question why. When I was younger, I believed school was preparing me for real life. I thought if I study hard, get good grades, and follow the system, everything will work out. That's what we're told. Go to school, get a degree, get a job, work hard, retire someday. But nobody explains how money actually behaves inside that system. Nobody explains that earning money and keeping money are completely different skills. You can earn a lot and still stay broke, and millions of people do. There are doctors living paycheck to paycheck, athletes who go bankrupt, celebrities drowning in debt because income alone doesn't create wealth. Financial behavior does, and schools rarely teach financial behavior. Schools were designed during a very different time, a time when most people worked factory jobs, a time when workers followed instructions all day, a time when obedience mattered more than creativity. The system wasn't built to create financially independent thinkers. It was built to create reliable workers. Think about it. In school, you're rewarded for memorizing information, following rules, sitting quietly, repeating answers. But real financial success often requires the opposite: critical thinking, independent decisions, risk management, patience, emotional control. School teaches you how to pass tests. Money tests you emotionally every single day. And that difference changes lives because financial problems are rarely caused by lack of intelligence. Most financial problems come from behavior, impulse spending, lifestyle inflation, debt addiction, emotional purchases, lack of planning. You don't need advanced calculus to avoid credit card debt. You need self-control. You don't need perfect grades to build wealth slowly over time. You need consistency, but consistency is boring, and modern culture hates boring. Social media constantly shows people buying expensive cars, luxury vacations, designer clothes, massive houses. Everyone looks rich online. Very few people show the debt behind it. Nobody posts, "Just financed something I can't afford." Nobody posts, "I'm stressed every night about money." But that's reality for millions of people, and schools rarely prepare students for that psychological pressure. Nobody teaches students how advertising manipulates emotions. Nobody teaches how companies profit from impulsive behavior. Nobody teaches why apps are addictive, why online shopping feels emotional, why buy now, pay later exploded. Because modern economies depend on spending. The more emotional people become, the more money they spend. And emotional spending creates profitable customers. That's why financial education matters so much. Because once you understand money, you start seeing the world differently. You realize most people are trapped in cycles they barely understand. Work, spend, stress, repeat. And the cycle keeps going. Not because people are lazy, because nobody taught them differently. Schools teach students how to become employees, but almost nobody learns how to become financially stable. Nobody explains emergency funds, investing, compound interest, retirement planning, financial boundaries, and compound interest alone can completely change someone's life. A person investing small amounts consistently for decades can outperform someone earning a much higher salary who spends everything. That's the shocking part. Wealth is often quieter than people think. Real wealth usually looks boring. It looks like patience, discipline, long-term thinking, not flashy lifestyles. And unfortunately, boring doesn't get attention online. That's why many people confuse looking rich with being wealthy. They are not the same thing. Looking rich is spending money. Being wealthy is having control over your time and future, and schools almost never explain that difference. Most students graduate believing success means higher income equals better life, but reality is more complicated. If your spending increases every time your income increases, you can stay financially trapped forever. That's called lifestyle inflation, and it quietly destroys millions of people financially. Someone gets a raise, then upgrades the apartment, upgrades the car, upgrades the phone, upgrades everything. And suddenly, they still feel broke. More income, same stress. Because financial freedom doesn't come only from earning more, it comes from controlling behavior. That lesson changed how I viewed money completely. I stopped asking, how can I look successful? And started asking, how can I become financially calm? Because peace matters more than appearances. Financial stress affects everything: your sleep, your confidence, your relationships, your mental health. And many people spend years blaming themselves when the truth is they were never taught properly. Imagine if schools taught students how debt works, how investing works, how taxes work, how budgeting works, how emotions affect spending, how compound interest works. Millions of lives would look different. People would make fewer emotional decisions, less impulsive debt, less financial panic. But financial education alone isn't enough because information is easy, behavior is hard. Most people already know they should save money. The difficult part is doing it consistently. That's why financial growth is psychological. You are constantly fighting temptation, comparison, impulse, fear, and emotion. Money is emotional. That's what most people misunderstand. People think money is mostly math. Usually, it's behavior. That's why someone with average income and strong discipline can slowly build wealth, while someone earning huge amounts still struggles financially. Behavior compounds. Small habits repeated for years shape entire futures. And the scary part is, most people live financially on autopilot. They never stop to question where their money goes. They just react emotionally. Stress, spend money. Bored, spend money. Sad, spend money. Social pressure, spend money. Modern systems are designed around emotional spending, and once you see that, you start becoming more intentional. That's why financial awareness matters. Awareness creates change. You cannot improve what you refuse to acknowledge. And maybe that's the biggest thing schools missed. Real financial education isn't just about money. It's about learning how to think, how to delay gratification, how to control emotions, how to make long-term decisions, how to avoid self-destruction, because those skills affect far more than bank accounts. They affect life itself. The truth is, schools can give you information, but financial wisdom usually comes from painful experience, debt, stress, mistakes, regret. That's how many people finally learn. But it doesn't have to happen that way. You can start learning now. You can start paying attention now. You can start becoming intentional now. Because financial freedom rarely happens overnight. It's built slowly through awareness, discipline, and small consistent decisions. And the earlier you learn that, the more your future changes. If you enjoyed this video and want more simple finance explainers that actually make sense, subscribe to Clever Finance.